I 1,000,000,000% struggle with imposter syndrome from time to time. You are never going to see me saying, I got it all. I know it all. Nobody intimidates me. My content's better than everybody's. I wish I had the secret to creating that mindset, but I don't. But I do think that it's crucial to address this mindset to really build confidence and create success in your business. Welcome to the Creative Bodega, a podcast about content marketing, Instagram growth, and personal branding for female service-based solopreneurs who want to grow their business without letting it take over their lives. I'm your host, Em Connors, and each week I'll share actionable tips, expert advice, and unfiltered truths to help you create engaging content, connect authentically with your audience, and turn followers into loyal customers, all without the burnout. If you're ready to simplify your content creation, navigate the ever-changing trends, and build a business that works for you while staying sane in this crazy season of life, then you're in the right place. Today's episode is brought to you by you. I asked you guys to help me figure out what my next episode should be about in my stories and inside a giveaway form that I was doing for the podcast. And one of the main themes was overcoming imposter syndrome and limiting beliefs. And this is a huge topic that gets brought up in every single thing I do, whether it's inside my membership, the Content Coven, or it's inside my live program I run once a year called the Instacanva Collective. Without a doubt, imposter syndrome comes up, or limiting beliefs. So I'm curious if you've ever felt like a fraud in your own business. Like at any moment, someone's going to literally call you out for not being, air quote, qualified enough or air quote, experienced enough. You are so far from alone. I would say that like 95% of female entrepreneurs out there at some point in their career absolutely feel that feeling. And it's one of the worst feelings in the world. It's just that sneaky little voice telling you that you're not good enough, or you don't belong, or you can't hold your own out there, or you're charging too much for what you're actually worth, right? So it's really, I just want to dive into it. I want to share my experiences with you with imposter syndrome and talk about some of the ways that we can break down exactly why imposter syndrome happens and how to really push past it so that you can confidently grow your business without feeling like a complete fraud. Because I'm sorry, but there's just, I think you'd be hard pressed to find somebody out there who has dealt with and not worked through imposter syndrome and is a raving success. I think you need to find a way to overcome this and work through it in order to find that pot of gold on the other side of the rainbow, so to speak. So I want to talk about the key mindset shifts that are going to help you stop doubting your value and start really owning your expertise, and some actionable strategies to help overcome that self-doubt and start showing up confidently in your business. By the way, you can find all the details for this episode over in the show notes. This week's show notes can be found at thecreativebodega.com/blog/8. Now, let's jump in. Some thoughts that solopreneurs have told me. Who am I to do this? I'm not qualified enough. Why would anyone pay me to do this? There's so many other people doing what I do. Those self-doubts creep in at every stage of business. That's what I want to make super, super clear. Whether you're just starting out or you're scaling or you feel like you've made it. Like I have a wonderfully, beautifully big audience. Like I adore every single 120,000 people who follow me on Instagram. Okay, maybe I don't adore them, but I appreciate them. And I just surpassed 16,000 subscribers. I bet you a lot of you look at me and you're like, oh my God, but she's so confident and she knows it all and she feels good. Guess what? I 1 trillion% struggle with imposter syndrome from time to time. You are never going to see me saying, I got it all. I know it all. Nobody intimidates me. My content's better than everybody's. No, I wish I had the like secret to creating that mindset, but I don't. But I do think that it's crucial to address this mindset to really build confidence and create success in your business. So I want to reflect on a time where I felt imposter syndrome. And it's funny because when I was working on the outline for this episode, I was like, ooh, I don't really struggle with imposter syndrome or self-doubt in what I do now. But I was like, when was there a time when I did? And holy cow, I did when we started our gym. So we started our gym. If you've listened to, hopefully you've listened to my first episode to find out like how I got here. That's episode 1. And my husband and I started a CrossFit gym, and he was the CrossFitter. He was the super fit one. Okay. I was 3 months postpartum. So not feeling my best mentally or physically. I was not a CrossFit coach. He was at our gym, which is why he decided to follow his passion and open a gym. He kind of made me get my L1, which is like a certification in CrossFit. I failed the first test because he told me I barely had to study. I failed. I had no idea what I was doing. Meanwhile, I had a 3-month-old and 17-month-old, and we literally both, he lost his job, I quit my job, and this gym was all we had. And so anyways, I retook the test, I passed, but I said to him, there's no way in hell I'm teaching people how to work out. Like, I have no business doing this. You can't even pay me enough money. No. So he was like, okay, well, what would you be interested in? And I was like, well, I love nutrition. I love eating well. I love teaching other people how to eat well. Like, I could get down with that. I don't think I can ever step into the trainer role. And he was like, okay. So we partnered with a dietitian, and I went through a certification process to be able to become a nutrition coach for our gym. But still, I felt like a fraud because I had never worked with anybody. And at this point, when I was finally through the certification and all of that, my daughter was probably 6 months old. So I was 6 months postpartum. And in following her nutrition protocol, this dietitian, which truly, you guys, everyone makes it so much more complicated than it needs to be. It's like drinking water, getting great sleep, moving your body, and eating whole real foods. The end. And I had a pretty significant transformation after having my daughter. And so I had my own story and I had my own transformation, but I never taught anybody else to do this. So after talking with my husband and just being like, I don't know if I can do this, he was like, what if you work with 3 or 4 people for free and just get your feet wet, try it, figure out your system and how you want to talk with people and how you want to work with them and all of that. And luckily, the dietitian we worked with provided us with a ton of tools and resources, but I still didn't have that real world experience. So I reached out to people at our current gym. We hadn't even opened the doors to our gym yet, but we were building behind the scenes, and we still went to a CrossFit gym. And I said, would anybody be willing to work with me for free? And I will nutrition coach you for a month. And I had 4 people say, absolutely, I would love this. And that's what I did. I worked with the 4 of them, and I was so nervous. Oh my God. I still remember sitting down with them and just like butterflies, felt a little ill, I just didn't feel comfortable, right? But I got through it. I forced myself to get through it. Again, we had no plan B. I did not have a job at this point, that was paying me. So I pushed through it. And at the end of those 30 days, I can honestly say my confidence had soared 75%. I knew at that point that I knew more than they did. You assume that people know how to take the steps necessary to get from one place in their life to the next, right? To go through this transformation, but they don't, or they're overwhelmed. And if you can simplify the process or share your series of steps you took to have your own transformation, it is going to leaps and bounds promote you or show you as an expert in their eyes. And that's what happened to me. I had a physical transformation. People were noticing it. They had noticed that I lost a good amount of weight. I was more energized. I was showing up to the gym more. I was eating really well. And it showed. And people started saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And so I was able to say, "Oh, this is a few things I did, but you could also work with me if you want to. I'm actually nutrition coaching now." And after working with those 4 people and really getting my feet wet, I can't tell you that the next 4 people I worked with was smooth sailing and I felt 100% confident. But each person I worked with from that moment forward, I was gaining confidence. And the same thing happened when I became a nutrition or really gym business owner mentor. So I worked for that dietitian and I mentored other gym owners on how to create successful nutrition businesses within their gym business because ours was doing so well because I was showing up on social media as the head nutrition coach. I was sharing meal ideas. I was sharing snack ideas. I was sharing food prep ideas. I was out there promoting myself as an expert every single week on our social media. And so people were showing up to our gym only wanting nutrition coaching. They didn't even want to join CrossFit. They were there for me because I had positioned myself as an expert on social media and showed my own transformation, which was all they really needed to see to really trust me as an expert. So that was a time when I faced imposter syndrome. Now, when I was a mentor for all these businesses, gym businesses, on how to grow their nutrition coaching side of their business, I spoke with hundreds of gym owners on calls. Now, another time I had imposter syndrome is when I first started that job. When I was getting on these calls and acting like an expert when it was like one of my first 10 calls in this role, you better believe I was freaking terrified and did not feel like an expert. But again, the more that I spoke with people, the more that I realized that I knew 10% more than them. I absolutely did. And that is what Amy Porterfield, and I know I talk about her a lot, but she really was my first mentor, whether she knows it or not, which she doesn't know it. But she always said, you only have to know 10% more than the average person about a subject in order to teach about it. And when I heard that, that gave me a boost of confidence that I needed so badly. I know that I knew 10% more about nutrition than the average person. Just like if you are a sailor and you know 10% more about sailing in a certain boat, like a sunfish or something, if you know 10% more, you are an expert in my eyes. You know more than me by leaps and bounds, and I would trust you to teach me about it. Okay. So I love that 10% rule. I want you to always remind yourself of that when you are feeling that self-doubt or imposter syndrome, or that hesitation, that fear of judgment, avoidance, underpricing your services, right? You only need to know 10% more. And the only thing that's going to get you more comfortable and more confident is doing more of the thing that is scaring you. Or maybe you are working with somebody for free, maybe a few people. I am so down for that. It's not going to take all of your time, or it shouldn't. And it should boost your confidence tenfold if you do get that real life, real world experience. So after working with hundreds of gym owners on how to grow their nutrition businesses and how to show up on social media, and then launching the Creative Bodega, I was 100% sure that I knew more than the average person because I had been speaking with these people for so many hours and so many months, years. I did this for years. I knew that I knew more than the average person. And that confidence was just instilled in me so that when I launched the Creative Bodega, I was like, let's go. I know what I'm doing. I know I can help people. I've been proven that fact over and over by working with so many other people one-on-one before this. I can work with a bunch of people in a group and get them results. So I do hear a lot of experts say that it is best if you get that one-on-one experience first. Work with people one-on-one for a certain amount of time. Then you go into the one-to-many model, meaning a course. I think it's pretty hard to just jump into a course model or a membership model if you don't have that experience working one-on-one with people. Because not only do you have the experience and you then have the confidence, you also have the testimonials from those people who you work with, right? So when you don't talk about your doubts, I honestly think they grow bigger and stronger. And that is what we do not want. I think imposter syndrome thrives in isolation. And this is where something like a community, like my beautiful community, the Content Coven, where you're surrounded by like-minded, driven female solopreneurs trying to grow a business exactly like you are, and you have the option to lean on them, plus get me in your back pocket, is huge. Versus sitting at your kitchen island trying to figure all this out yourself and doubting yourself. You come to us and you say, I am struggling with this. I don't know how to proceed. And I guarantee 10 women will speak up and say, this is what I did. This is what I would do. You have got this. You've got this. And oh my gosh, doing it inside a community with other people, it can just be the difference between succeeding and failing, in my opinion. The other thing I want to tell you is that your experience is enough. You don't need 10 certifications or degrees to be valuable. I did not go to school for content creation. I did not go to school for marketing. I went to school for fashion design, okay? Your unique perspective and journey qualify you to teach what you're teaching. You have to believe in that. Remember that 10% edge. Write it on a Post-it note. I only need to know 10% more than the average person to teach what I'm teaching. Look at it every day, say it out loud, and I do think you will start believing it. So I also think perfectionism feeds self-doubt immensely. And that is another theme I really hear and see within my communities is this perfectionism. You work on a Canva template for 10 hours and you still don't post it because you can't get it right. Or you're just waiting for that perfect moment to launch something. The more you do that, the more you're reinforcing the idea that you're not good enough. I am 100% believer in doing things messy. Just do it. Proceed. Move forward. If you're not doing anything right now, barely anyone's paying any attention to you, okay? So don't be scared. Just start putting in the reps. Start putting yourself out there. Stop letting perfectionism hold you back. There is no such thing as a perfect post. There is no such thing as a perfect time. Do you think when I launched the Creative Bodega, when I owned our gym and I was our head nutrition coach, I had 2 nutrition coaches under me working for me. B, I was a business mentor for other gym owners trying to grow their nutrition businesses and gyms through marketing. And C, I had a 17-month-old and a 3-month-old. That was when I started my business. That's when I started my gym business. When I started the Creative Bodega, my kids were 3 and 4. Like still not sleeping well, still needed mom, still so many transitions happening. It was like the opposite of the perfect time, but I did it because I was just so desperate to do something I loved that lit me up. I was like, I need this in my life. I need to feel lit up by what I'm doing every day. And I didn't feel that way with what I was doing at the time. So the Creative Bodega was born at a time when my life was insane, but it gave me hope and it gave me power. And that felt so good. The next thing is that just the fear of judgment is that I think it's really rooted in self-perception. So often we assume others are scrutinizing us so much more than they actually are. Like no one's paying as close of attention to what you're doing than you. And I'm telling you that. I just need to say it again. No one is paying as close of attention to you or your content than you. And you are your own worst critic. There is no question in my mind that you are your own worst critic. In fact, I love this quote that if you can believe in Santa Claus for hopefully 5 to 10 years of your life, you can believe in yourself for 10 minutes. Like you can dig deep and believe that you know what you need to know. You have what it takes and you can do this. Okay. And people are not judging you. They're too busy judging themselves. They're too busy just looking inward, right? So few of us are actually looking outward. And if someone is judging you, just get them out of your lives. Block them on Instagram. Don't talk to them about your business. Only surround yourself with the people that make you feel really good and really accomplished and like you really have what it takes. Again, I'm going to plug the Content Coven, my membership. This is what this community exists for. I wished that something like this existed when I started my business. I didn't want to be doing it alone. I had so many questions that I wish I could have just asked somebody and gotten the answers to. I wish there were lessons that I could just binge watch and like from someone who had walked before me and done what I wanted to do. Right. And that's what's inside the Content Coven. Inside the vault, we call it the vault, there are lessons on exactly what I did to grow my business on social media. And you have that. And inside the vault are every guest speaker or presentation I've ever given that you can consume on your own time that truly will fast track your progress from where you are to where you want to be. So I think confidence comes from action. It comes from putting in the reps. It absolutely does not come from waiting, okay? Confidence is not going to come from waiting. You don't become confident first and then take action. That is something I hear so often. Oh, as soon as I like lose a couple pounds or feel more comfortable in my skin, like then I'm going to start showing up in stories. No, when you do that, you're still not going to want to show up in stories. Like it is getting confident from taking action and putting in the reps. I will say that again, like you build confidence by taking action. You have to just take that from me, take it for what it's worth. It is the truth. I cannot stress it enough. So let's talk about some like actionable things you can take away from this episode. I want you to try really hard to reframe your thoughts. So instead of saying, I'm not qualified, I don't have enough experience, I would replace that with, I'm learning and growing, and that's enough, right? I'm learning and growing, and that's enough. Instead of starting before you feel ready, challenge yourself to take one step forward every day. Publish that post that one story, raise that price to what you're worth, apply for that opportunity you've been stalking. Start before you feel ready. I do believe that is, it's really the key is taking that first step before you want to. Maybe you keep a confidence journal. I'm not a journal girl, but I know a lot of people are out there that are. Track your wins. Client testimonials will make you feel great about yourself. When I'm having a day where I'm feeling like that imposter syndrome sneak in, I actually have a folder on my desktop. And it's screenshots of nice things that a lot of people have said to me through my programs or on social media. And I just read it. And I'm like, you know what? You're good. You're good. You've got this, right? Your personal breakthroughs are going to help you remind yourself of your value. So really focus on the good. It's one of the things I love most about tracking my analytics every month is just reflecting back on the posts that did well. That makes me feel good. I'm not focusing on what did the worst. I don't care. I'm letting that go. I'm focusing on what did well. Same with my email analytics. Same with my podcast analytics, right? I'm focusing on what's getting the most views, what's getting the most opens, what's getting the most shares, all the good, not the bad. The bad, I don't want to call it bad either, but the ones that didn't do well, I just let go, right? And last but not least, something that you can do is absolutely just surround yourself with that support system. Finding a business mentor, finding a friend that owns a business, bonus points, or a membership like the Content Coven to really share your doubts and get that encouragement that we all need from time to time can go a really, really long way. So really just some closing thoughts. Your success is not about having all the answers. It's about believing that you'll figure it out as you go, okay? No one starts out as an expert. Nobody, okay? You become one by showing up, putting in the reps, learning, and trusting yourself. And one of the biggest things I do when I don't know an answer to something is I am forthcoming about that. I say, you know what? I know I'm a Canva verified expert, but I actually don't know how to do that in Canva. But I do know some smart people, and let me go figure that out, right? I don't pretend to know it all because I don't know it all. It's impossible to know it all, right? You become an expert by showing up, learning, and by really trusting yourself. I would encourage you to take away from this episode whatever feels right for you and good for you, and leave behind what doesn't. I'd love to hear what your biggest takeaways are from the episode. Maybe you share it in your stories and you tag me. I'd love to reshare that in my stories. I think that this episode is going to be quite powerful to many of you. That's my hope, at least, because self-doubt and imposter syndrome, I've seen it hold so many of you back. And I really do believe in the deepest recesses of my heart that the world needs what you have to offer. And you're doing us a disservice by holding it back. I do believe that. If you're loving this podcast so far and you're finding it helpful, I would be so grateful if you took a second to leave a 5-star rating and review it on your favorite app where you like to listen. Here's why it matters. Ratings and reviews help more solopreneurs like you discover this podcast. It's a little signal to the podcast gods out there that this show is worth sharing with others, and therefore it's worth listening to. Plus, it's an awesome way to let me know what's resonating with you so I can keep bringing you content that you love and that really makes a difference in your lives. So it only takes a few seconds, but it makes a huge difference. So scroll down in your podcast app, tap those 5 stars, and leave a review. And I just thank you so much for your support. I appreciate you more than you know. Don't forget, you can grab all the show notes and resources and recommendations from this episode over on thecreativebodega.com/blog/8. That's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Creative Bodega podcast. I'm your host, M. Connors, reminding you that if you're ready to build a brand that's seen, loved, and profitable, you don't have to do this alone. I will see you next week. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on the Creative Bodega podcast. If you love this episode, please be sure to share it with a fellow solopreneur who could use a little content creation inspiration. And hey, don't forget to check out the show notes for any resources I mentioned on the episode to help you create content that feels easy and actually gets you results. If you want even more Canva and content tips, head over to my website, thecreativebodega.com, or find me on Instagram under the same name. Until next time, keep creating, keep showing up, and most importantly, try and have a little fun with your content. I'll see you on the next episode.